Today we're going to be co-hosting a webinar with Sofia University to talk about their programs. So we have here today with us Ranali Dewaraja. She's an Associate Director of the International Student Office and PDSO. And we also have with us Jennifer Shishido, Admissions Counselor. Today's session spotlights, we'll be talking a lot about RFEs or requests for further evidence, what kind of RFEs you might get if you're doing CPT from early on in the program, and what can you and the school do to prepare. We'll also talk about how major selection and Sevis transfers can affect your risk of RFE. And then we'll also be having a live Q&A with both of our lovely speakers here. So if you have questions, that's great. That's what we're here for. We're here to learn. So just make sure to put those in the Q&A section of the Zoom, and we'll be collecting those and answering them at the end of the presentation. So have your questions. Also, do pay attention to the presentations. As it turns out, your question might be answered as we're talking. So definitely keep your questions and also pay attention to what the speakers have prepared for us today. So a little bit about us. So us, our agency, Go Elite, we're here helping with day one CPT programs that in which students can work from early on in the program while kind of pursuing some sort of new knowledge. We are certified by AIRC, one of the most respectable organizations in the American education industry. One thing for Go Elite, again, so we're recruiting and helping with admissions for different Day 1 CPT programs. And we do have, like beyond that, we do have ways to help you. So we have a rewards program that we've just started implementing on our website, and that will actually be going in the chat right now. So if you're thinking about Day 1 CPT or you're already enrolled in a program and you have some questions, feel free to join our rewards program. We do have like group chats. You'll be able to refer friends. And excitingly, you'll be getting points. And with this point system, 1 point is $1. So you'll be able to get a little bit of compensation for kind of like participating and learning more about Day 1 CPT. So it's kind of a win-win situation that we have here. And another resource that we're rolling out is our Red Book for F1 students. So this is a resource we're having for all F1 students. You don't have to be doing CPT. You don't even have to be a master's student. Just kind of like how does the visa work? How do different things in the US work, especially if you're coming here for the first time? So stay on the lookout for this on our website. I'll have a lot of information that will go far beyond just CPT. So yeah, again, just to review, this is what we're talking about. This is about us, and this is the rewards program that I was mentioning. Again, this information will be in the chat, and this is the Red Book kind of resource that I was talking about. So definitely stay tuned for this. And again, don't just take our word for it. You can check on Google. We do have helped like hundreds and hundreds of students with Day 1 CPT, so you can hear what they have to say about us. And of course, if you do want to get in touch with an educational consultant like me or anyone else on our team, feel free to scan the QR codes that we have here on the left. This is the QR code for WeChat consultation in Chinese. And on the right is the QR code for WhatsApp consultation in English. So we do have multiple options for you to get in touch with us. Now, without further ado, I'll pass this off to the team at Sofia, and we'll hear about RFEs and Sofia's programs.
Thank you so much, Samir. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, and then please let me know if you can see. So like Samir said, my name is Ranali Dewaraja. I work in the International Student Office at Sofia University. We're going to be giving you a lot of really great information about Sofia University, our programs, and also our CPT policies. I think it's really important that you make an informed choice about which school and which program you want to pursue. And first off, we'll be having a member of our admissions team who'll give you some really great information about Sofia, our history, and the programs we offer. So Jennifer, I'll start the first slide.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Ranali. Yes, hello everyone. My name is Jennifer. I'm a Sophia University admissions counselor. I may have worked with some of you. I'm just going to speak a little bit more about the university and how to apply and more steps about that. So Sofia University is accredited by many different bodies. This is very important to know when you're considering your next university. We are accredited by WASC, which is one of the major gold standards in having an accredited university. WASC is the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. We are also accredited by California Bureau for Private Post-Secondary Education, BPPE. We are also accredited by Council for Higher Education Accreditation, the U.S. Department of Education. We also have state authorizations for distance education, as well as the Chinese government website of Ministry of Education. Further, it's really important to know that Sofia University is an SEVP certified school, and thus it has approval under Section 101 to accept F1 students. So we have many accrediting bodies, and it's good to know reassurance that it's a gold standard for a university. We can go to the next slide. Great. So one of the questions I get from a lot of students, they ask me why Sofia. So Sofia University was actually previously the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology. So it's really important to know this because all of our courses, including even the MBA or the MSCS courses, have a little bit of humanistic kind of background, so that it gives students the ability to not only be good in business, but also help them improve communication and interpersonal skills that we need in the 21st century economy. This also helps Sofia University's program construct business analytical models, and we use data to conduct market analysis and others. So not only is you're going to learn programs like the MBA or the MSCS, as well as the DBA, but you do have some kind of psychological principles that allow the university to stand out from other universities. The curriculum. So if you are interested more about some of our courses as well as the faculty information, you can visit our catalog. The catalog information is on the link there, but you can also put it in the chat if you want to email after about catalog information. So the importance of the catalog is that, for instance, if you want to be in the MBA program, you can see all the courses, including the professors, the curriculum for those courses, as well as if you wanted to get like a STEM concentration, you can look at the catalog and it shows all the courses, the class times, and the specifics that you'll be learning in each of those courses. So I recommend that you also look at our catalog. Okay, so our featured program. So we have 3 featured programs for a lot of our students. The first one and the most popular one, also the one I deal with the most, is the Master of Business Administration. The type of topics that you will have in this course will be finance, operations, marketing, consumer psychology, and technology innovation. It is very ideal for students who want to become business professionals. There's many different things that you can do with an MBA, so it's a usable kind of degree. It also offers CPT and OPT for eligible students, and we do offer a data analytics STEM concentration, which is STEM certified. So some students who want to have more of a technical background, they opt for the data analytics concentration. Our next program is our Master of Science in Computer Science program, and this program covers topics in data science, machine learning, software engineering, cybersecurity, and data visualization. So many people who want to be in computer science or who want to be software engineers want to do this program. It is ideal for students interested in technology and innovation, and we do offer CPT, OPT, and STEM OPT for eligible students for this program. Our newest program, a very exciting program, is our Doctor of Business Administration. I've also met some students in person about this program, and it has been growing pretty significantly. This program focuses on business challenges, organizational psychology, project implementation, and leadership. It is ideal for those who are interested in research and entrepreneurship, and it is also a business integration practicum, which offers CPT to eligible students. And I just wanted to mention that you need to have a master's degree for this doctoral program. So the costs, the MBA costs approximately $24,000 for approximately 2 years. The MSCS is $24,000 as well for 2 years, and the DBA is 3 years for approximately $51,300. There are some fees associated applying. So there's the application fee of $75. There's an acceptance fee of $200 once you are accepted by your admission counselor. There is an I-20 processing fee of $100 and a will fee of $500. For all the fees and tuitions, if you want to visit our website, you can also see it on sofia.edu/student-resources/tuition. And that's where you can see the list of all the fees and other programs as well. So after you work the steps to the application process. Well, this will talk a little bit more about the application process, the required steps. So once you say that you're interested in applying, you can go visit our website, sophia.edu, and select the Apply Now button at the top of our website. It's a very large button at the left side corner to start your application. And then in our application portal, you can select an option from the drop down and fill in the required fields. It takes less than 10 minutes. You just pretty much pick like which program you're interested in and for what semester. So for instance, if you're applying for this quarter MBA, you can filter down MBA winter 2025. The next step is to submit required documents as indicated by your counselor. So students are given a checklist of items to kind of request from their counselor. And so once you finish uploading those documents, then you can check off the checklist to see which items that you have completed. Then if you're accepted and you've submitted all your documents, then you must follow the instructions in your email to activate your official student account and complete the paperwork. Then it goes to the international student office to where you work with them to submit all your required documents for Sevis transfer. And then finally, you work with the registrar's office to complete your enrollment agreement paperwork, and then they will also help you sign up for classes for the next year. So just a little recap about the F1 admission requirements. So you complete the online application. You must have your official transcripts sent directly by your university. So we don't accept any transcripts from students. That's just our policy. So it would have to be sent directly from your university. Often the universities use a website like Parchment or that kind of thing to submit their transcript to other universities. So it would be sent to Sofia. And then you will also write a statement of purpose, pretty much outlining why you're interested in the program, why Sofia is a good match for you, or potentially what your career outcomes would be. And it should be 750 words minimum and all human written. So we make sure that students write it themselves, and that's very important for us. Your GPA of 3.0. We do sometimes accept students with lower than a 3.0 GPA. In that instance, if you did have a lower than a 3.0 for your bachelor's degree, you could write a you can explain that in your personal statement, or you can also add a letter of reference to make your application a little bit stronger in that specific case. You would also need a copy of your passport and evidence of English proficiency if applicable. So if you already have a degree in the US, you won't need to have your English proficiency score. But if you do not, you probably would have to have that, and you would work with your admission counselor about submitting that score. So at the end, if you have any supplemental documents that are needed, you can work with your admission counselor on getting all those things completed, and then hopefully you will be accepted to the university. Oh, and I will leave it now to Ranali to explain the I-20 checklist. Thank you.
Once you receive your acceptance letter from Sofia, you work with the DSOs in the International Student Office to verify your I-20 eligibility. So if you are a transfer student, and I'm assuming many of you will be transfer students, these are the documents we'll require from you. So we'll need your most recent I-20 and you'll need to request that from your current school's DSO. If you're on OPT or STEM OPT, you need to check on page 2 of your I-20 to make sure your I-20 indicates that the OPT has been approved and that your employer is listed there. We'll need your F1 visa. Even if it is expired, we still want to see a copy of it. We'll also need to see your most recent I-94. Your F1 visa together with your I-94 will confirm that you are, currently in status. We'll need a copy of your EAD if you're on OPT. Your I-797A. So if you have any applications or petitions with USCIS and they have sent you a receipt notice or an approval notice, we'll need to see a copy of that. For F1 students, we do need to verify your financial capacity to pay for at least one academic year of full-time study. So we will need to see a bank statement with the required minimum balance. We have an affidavit of support which you will need to sign. If you're sponsoring yourself, you would need to sign that yourself. If you have a family member or other sponsor, they will need to sign that as well. And then finally, you need to provide us with a I-20 request form, which provides your current address and also your address abroad and some other important information. So once you provide all these documents, we can move on to the next step. So I've just provided a kind of visual guide of what it looks like. We'll also be providing you with a copy of the enrollment guide once you are an accepted student. So these are some very important steps we want to make sure students don't miss out on, and that you, if you follow this sequentially, I think it will ensure that you have a very smooth enrollment process. So you would need to activate your Sofia email and all your various technological platforms that you use as a student. Upload your I-20 documentation that we just discussed before, and then you move on to scheduling your Sevis transfer and your CPT application. So I'm going to talk about those steps next. So when it comes to scheduling your Sevis transfer, once you provide us all these documents, we will provide you with instructions on how to work with your current school to schedule your transfer. Your current school will need your acceptance letter as well as the Sevis school code, which we will provide to you once you have completed your I-20 checklist. So when you are scheduling your Sevis transfer, there are some very important timelines and other issues to consider. So firstly, we want to make sure that if you are a transfer student, that we are receiving your I-20 or your Sevis record in active status. So if you are very close to your OPT grace period, or if you've completed your OPT and you're in your 60-day grace period, or if you are a current student and you're close to your program end date, you need to ensure that we receive your Sevis record in active status. If you are on STEM OPT, you need to ensure that your I-93 final evaluation is completed with your previous school, or they may not permit the transfer out. And then finally, if you are traveling during this transfer process, please, inform both your current school's DSO and Sofia so that we can make sure the transfer happens at the most convenient time. If you are traveling during the transfer process, there are some additional considerations that, we need to be mindful of. So assuming you're able to complete all those steps successfully, we would then, we would then provide you with our CPT application guidelines. So CPT is a curricular practical training, and it is intended for practical training, which is a requirement for the particular program that you're enrolled in. So our MBA, MSCS, require that students participate in the work integrated learning course. This work integrated learning course requires the practical application of your academic learning. And so we do authorize CPT for students who are enrolled in the WIL course for the MBA or MSCS. Similarly, our DBA program has a business integration practicum course, which also requires practical training. And so if you are enrolled in the business integration practicum course for the DBA, we will, approve your CPT. So it's very important that you understand that your CPT is being authorized for your participation in the work integrated learning course or the business integration practicum course. So every quarter you want to apply for CPT, you must participate in the course. So how do you apply? You need to submit a job offer letter. So the job offer letter needs to be on a company letterhead and clearly state your title. You also need to complete the internship application form and cooperative agreement. The cooperative agreement will be signed by your employer. You'll also be listing out your training objectives based on the course and the course requirements. So it's very analogous to your I-93 training plan. Once you submit those documents, there's one other document. Your job offer letter also needs to have a very detailed description of your position, your job description. So this job description needs to be directly related to your program. So for example, if you're in the MSCS program and you give us a job description for a software engineer, that's an ideal fit. So we will be verifying that your job description is directly related to your program. So once you submit all these documents, it will be first approved by your faculty advisor from the specific program. They're looking at your training objectives and your job description to ensure everything is aligned. They'll give you any feedback they have. And then once that's finalized, After your Sevis record transfers to Sofia, you will be enrolled in the appropriate course, and then your CPT will be authorized in Sevis, and then you be receiving your CPT I-20, which is authorization, which serves as proof of your employment authorization. So during the CPT, when participating in CPT, especially if you have just completed OPT and you are starting CPT, it's very important that you are mindful of any gaps in your employment. When you transfer your Sevis record to Sofia, as at the transfer release date, so the deadline for Sevis transfers for winter is January 6th. So assuming you select January 6th as your transfer release date, on the transfer release date, any previous employment authorization from your current school will be invalidated. And then you would need to wait until you have a CPT approval to start your new employment. So that may create a gap in your work authorization. So you do need to be mindful that you do not work without authorization during that period. So once your record transfers to Sofia, assuming you submit your CPT application, get your approval, and you are a full-time student at Sofia, there are some very important obligations that we want you to be aware of to help you correctly maintain your F1 status throughout your time with us. So F1 students are required to register in a full course of study each quarter. So for MBA and MSCS, that is 6 credits per quarter. For DBA, it's a minimum of 4 credits. The DBA program is a little more it's slightly different because different quarters will have different limits. So some quarters you may take 5 credits, some quarters you may take 4, but the minimum requirement is 4. And then every quarter you're participating in CPT, you'll be enrolled in the appropriate will or business integration practicum course. So it's important that you are registered full-time every quarter unless you are approved for a vacation term or a reduced course load. So F1 students are required to, strictly abide by our attendance policy. As an F1 student, you do need to come on site for classes. So only one course each quarter can be fully online. There is a limit to the number of online courses you can take. The rest of the courses will be residential, which means you will have on-site meetings, and it's really important that you attend those meetings. They're also a really great opportunity for you to network with other students and meet our faculty face to face. So definitely be very mindful of your class schedules. And then as an F1 student, you always need to have DSO approval for DSO and sometimes USCIS approval for work authorization. You need DSO approval for travel if you're traveling abroad. And then you need to continuously update DSO for any changes in connection with your address, contact information, or if you filed any petition or application with USCIS. So these are just some important tips that we want students to just be aware of from the start of their journey. So I know that a lot of students have questions about changes of status. And, we talked earlier about students having questions about RFEs. So F1 students are permitted to change their status from F1 to a different non-immigrant status. So if, your CPT employer, for example, wants to file a petition for you to change your status to H-1B, that is, permissible. So even once you change your status, many other types of non-immigrants are permitted to study in the U.S. So even if you change your status to H-1B, for example, you are still permitted to continue your program. So during the change of status process, most of that will be managed by your employer and your immigration attorney, but you do need to keep your DSO informed. So make sure you inform us, send us your receipt notice so that we can make sure that information is in Sevis and correctly recorded. So sometimes during a change of status process, students may receive an RFE from USCIS. So USCIS is typically trying to ascertain two major questions. One is, was the student validly maintaining their F1 status? So if that's the question they raise, typically they will ask us for these documents. They'll want to see the student's transcript, their I-20, their attendance records, their student ID, tuition payment receipts, course syllabus from the course syllabi from Canvas. And they may ask for certain definitions from DSO or registrar about, the definition of full-time enrollment or our CPT policy. So just like I discussed earlier, it's very important that you're maintaining good attendance and satisfactory academic progress, and so all of this will be demonstrated in these documents. And then the other area that USCIS may question the student on is whether their CPT or OPT was validly authorized. So in order to ascertain that, they would ask for your previous I-20s with CPT or OPT work authorizations, the offer letters and cooperative agreements. They'd want to see excerpts from the academic catalog relating to, the course that required your CPT. So in this case, it would be the work integrated learning course or the business integration practicum. And then they'll also sometimes ask for a detailed job description to confirm that your CPT is directly related to your program of study. So our advice to students is that, you focus on your academic journey. As long as you are, as long as you're doing well in your program, engaged, and, making progress towards your degree attainment, your records will reflect this. And then, we'll be able to provide those records to USCIS. Um, yeah, the other advice that we always give students is, maintain records for yourself. Every time you get an I-20, every time you make a tuition payment receipt, just make sure you have copies of that. And a lot of these documents you can just get copies from your student portal. So if you do get an RFE, the International Student Office will help you with compiling all these documents. Some of it, we will provide. Some documents, for example, like, your student ID card or your tuition payment receipts, are documents you can get on your own, and then we'll help you and we'll explain how to find those documents if you don't already have them. Yeah. So these are just some important dates and deadlines. If you are planning on applying for the winter quarter, the application deadline is December 16th. And then our Sevis transfer deadline is January 6th. So we strongly do encourage early applications. The sooner you start the process, the sooner you can get, your acceptance letter. And then, especially with the holiday season, your previous school may be closed. And so we want to make sure that, you get, you're able to meet these deadlines with sufficient time. So, yeah, we just have all these deadlines posted on our website as well. And here are some helpful resources. A lot of answers to frequently asked questions can be found in our academic catalog and also our International Student Handbook. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this has been informative, and I hope you found a lot of useful information to help you make a decision. So I'm going to stop sharing now.
Yes, thank
Samir.
you, Ranali and Jennifer, for your lots of information about Day One CPT programs. We do have like our 15-minute Q&A session. So here's some questions that we've been collecting. If you do have more questions, again, we may or may not have time to get them to them in the chat. So go ahead and put them in the QA section, or if you have something that's maybe a little bit more personal, you're more than welcome to talk with one of us at Go Elite in Chinese on the left, or write for WhatsApp in English. I look forward to hearing from you guys. All right, so Ranali and Jennifer, if you guys could help me out with these questions. So let me know also if we've gone over them already, and we can just skip over the question. So what's the CPT renewal frequency
Yes, the
requirement
CPT
at?
is authorized on a quarterly basis aligned with our academic calendar. Like I explained, you do need to be enrolled in that particular course, and because it's offered on a quarterly basis, the CPT is also renewed quarterly.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so just make sure that once you get in, you get your CPT authorized once, make sure you're paying attention to the school deadlines. So if a student applicant is on an H-1B, and their spouse is on H-4, will they get a new I-20 when they change their status to F-1?
So if you are applying for a change of status from H-1B to F-1, your spouse would need to apply for a change of status from H-4 to F-2, and then we'll provide some basic guidance and assistance with how that process works. But you can also, consult an immigration attorney on the specifics. But they will not automatically get a new F-2 I-20. It would need to be a separate application.
All right, thank you. Next, does for the support for H-1B RFEs that Sophia provides, would there be any charge for that?
No, there is no additional cost. We just ask that you give us at least 1 week, because it's a very, if you do get an RFE, there can be a very extensive list of documents that we need to compile. So we ask that you give us at least 1 week, and that you give us a copy of the original RFE letter from USCIS, so that we can help you better.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so stay on top of your deadlines, everybody, and keep your own. Again, even though Sophia is like providing a lot of support for anyone anywhere, it's just good to keep your own documents as well, so you can kind of supplement what the university is also helping you with. All right, so the student asked, the Sevis got completed recently due to OPT denial. Is there a way they can still enroll?
Yeah, so obviously this may require more case-by-case analysis.
Mhm.
However, if you have an OPT denial, you still have the option to depart the US and then apply for a new F1 visa and return. That's one option. If you feel that, the OPT denial was caused by administrative error, or something that was, beyond the control of your, beyond the student's control, reasons beyond the student's control, you may have a case for reinstatement. So I would recommend you check with your current school's DSO. However, typically for an OPT denial, we would recommend you consider departing the US and applying for a new F1 visa abroad.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, like you said, it's really a case by case situation, so it really depends on what your exact situation is. All right, so what does authorized statements mean? Can students join the program from outside California, for example, Texas?
Yeah, I can answer that question. So we have a list of authorized states that Sophia allows for students, and Texas is one of them. I will put it in the chat, the list. You can see which of the states are authorized, but Texas is one of them. So I'm going to put that in the chat for you guys.
Great, thank you for that. Yeah, so make sure to follow that list. All right, how quickly can students expect an admission decision after submitting an application?
So after they complete their applications and their transcript, personal statement, you can hear back within 2 to 3 business days, your decision or not.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, so just one common question like from the consulting side that we often get with students, like I submitted the application, how come I haven't heard back yet? Also make sure that you have all of your documents in,
Yes.
because otherwise your application will be reviewed. So definitely like get it in, but also make sure you get everything in. All right, so for a student who's already done an MBA, what kind of program might you recommend to this kind of student? This could be for either of you guys.
I would recommend the DBA. I think it's a great option. If you've done a master's level program in business administration, you would want to look at a higher level of, a higher level degree in the same field. So we would strongly recommend the DBA.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah,
I agree with Ranali. We have students who have already an MBA as well, and then they are accepted to the DBA. So it's kind of a good transition after they have been in the workforce and then also have their master's completed.
yeah. So especially if I'm hearing like maybe if they've done their MBA, they've used OPT for a while, and they kind of want to like leverage both of their work experience and their previous education and take it to the next level, DVA would be a great program to go for. All right, next so someone here's at Amazon and their boss, their manager isn't willing to sign a CPT agreement. Is there a way for them to still get CPT authorization without that signature?
We always do strongly recommend that your CPT employer sign the cooperative agreement. However, if they're not willing to sign, and we understand that in some companies they're not willing to sign, then we ask that you reach out to us individually, send us an email directly, and then we'll explore options with you.
Okay, yeah. So it's definitely like better like in terms of like RFE and whatever to have the sign off. But Sophia, if you are in the situation, there may be an option that's available from you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So we would want the student to email us, and then we'll give them guidance.
All right, perfect. Thank you. If a student does, and I think we kind of already answered this question, can a student apply for OPT after graduation if they've already done OPT? I would say this is maybe like a second master student. So let's say if
Right.
they've used OPT once and another MBA.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, so
mm.
OPT is offered once per degree level. So if you've, already, if you've done a bachelor's degree, you've done your OPT, and this is your first master's, yes, you can do OPT again at the master's degree level. However, you need to ensure that you do not exceed more than 12 months of full-time CPT. So you can either do part-time CPT or a mix of, a combination of full-time and part-time, but it cannot exceed 12 months of full-time CPT. If you have already done OPT at a master's degree level, it's not available again.
Yes, unless you do like a doctorate level. Yeah, great. Yeah, this is a great explanation. I think sometimes students do get like confused between like a master's and MBA or like a technical master's and MBA. So MBA is all like a master's of business administration is still considered master's level. So if you've done a technical degree and then you're going for an MBA, if you used OPT once, you wouldn't be eligible again unless you go for a higher degree level. So um, all right, so the next one says, when I am studying on day one CPT, oh yeah, so how can a student renew their F1 visa? Let's say they've maintained their F1 status, perfectly fine, transferring their Sevis and all that. How can they renew their F1 visa so they can travel to their home country and come back?
Yeah, if you plan on traveling abroad, you will need a valid visa to return. So, yes, we would recommend you schedule your travel during either, a break or a gap between quarters so that, you can renew your visa and return before the start of the next quarter. So we provide individual kind of guidance on the visa application process and how to face the visa interview. We also have like mock interviews with students to help them, and again, every visa application, we look at it on a case by case basis. So we look at your educational history. Is this your first master's? If so, we probably um, it's probably less challenging. If it's your second master's, or you have some kind of irregularities in your academic history that could, require kind of more detailed advice. So we recommend you consult with us before you plan to travel.
Yes. All right. Yeah, that's really great advice. Like no matter what, if you're first or second masters, you should still just check in with the DSO, check in with the International Student Office to see like what steps you should take so that you're able to visit. If a student loses their job in a semester, will that be an issue for their CPT authorization or how'd that work?
Yeah, so if you get laid off or you decide to transition, you should immediately inform DSO. Then we'll update Sevis to cancel your CPT authorization. If you're in the work integrated learning course, you can still add another employer. Um, So you would just need to be very mindful of our deadlines. If you're already in the course, you can change employers while you're in the course. If you're not in the course, then you need to ensure that your new start date also aligns with your participation in the course. So sometimes you may need to wait for the next quarter. But apart from that, as long as you inform DSO, it's not going to affect your F1 status as long as you remain enrolled full time in your other courses.
All right, great. Yeah. So again, I'm sure like, for any student like who loses their job, there's a lot they have to worry about, but make sure that you are still like kind of keeping up with your DSO and that they're informed of the situation so everything can be smooth for you. All right, next question. What's the on-site frequency requirement for attendance? And is there like if there's an emergency, what can a student do?
Yes, so the on-site frequency is every residential hybrid class will meet 3 times a quarter. Um, and typically these classes are on weekends. So each class can be up to 5 hours. So you're looking at approximately 15 hours a quarter. So 3 sessions of 5 hours each. Um, our MBA program is now expanding into weeknight classes. So those, if you opt for the weeknight option, it's going to be two weekday evenings. So yeah, so if you opt for the weeknight option, it's going to be twice a week for 3 weeks. Um, so yes, attendance at residential classes is very important. However, we understand that sometimes students do have emergencies. We do ask that you keep us informed. So if you have a medical emergency or a other type of like personal emergency, inform your professor and inform the registrar and DSO as well. And your professors, depending on the situation, will do their best to offer you a makeup session or offer you, some kind of alternative. However, this is for genuine emergencies. So
All right. Yes, thanks for all that very detailed information. I'd like to like kind of also follow up and say, beyond obviously the educational like benefit or participation that the in-person attendance does facilitate, right? The courses are designed with this on in-person attendance in mind. In addition to that, the in-person attendance is actually really important also for maintaining your F1 visa status. So really like these guidelines are there for you to succeed academically and also maintain your status legally. All right, so next question, if a student has a goes for a DBA, would they be able to get CPT authorization for, let's say, a software engineering role? What do you think?
So that would really depend on the job description. For example, we actually look beyond the title into the actual substantive description and the role that you perform. So if, the role involves a lot of managerial aspects, or, is, very connected to managing projects, managing teams, or other operational aspects. It's possible that it could be considered directly related. So again, it's a case by case analysis based on your job description. I would recommend you send us your job description and then we can help confirm with the DBA program chair.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, so like CPT, like OPT, like these kinds of work authorizations, it's really hard to say, like for sure, like everybody in this role will get this degree, will get the authorization. Everybody in this role will not get the authorization. Everybody's role um, has very different responsibilities. So again, look at your job description, look at the coursework, and when in doubt, reach out to Sophia. Right, last question before we wrap up for today. For let's say, I assume this is for like an MBA program or MSCS program. Is there a possibility of finishing the program within 1 year or shortening it at all?
I would say 1 year may be a little ambitious, but so the first quarter you would be enrolled in the basic 6 credits for the MBA and MSCS. After that, from the second quarter onwards, based on your academic performance, if you are able to manage a larger workload, you can make that request. So we have had students who are able to take more credits. As long as you're not taking over one online class per quarter, you can take extra credits, and then you may be able to shorten the duration. Whether you're able to complete a typical 1.5 year course in 1 year, it may be possible. It depends on your academic motivation. So yeah, again, based on your performance, we can make the request to the program chair, and yeah.
Yes, right. Cool. Thank you for that. Yeah, so it's good to know. But also, I'm sure as everybody is probably aware, when you're adding more work, condensing more work into a shorter amount of time, especially if you're using CPT, make sure that you're actually like able to keep up because there'll be a lot more work for you. Cool. All right. So again, if you have further questions, sorry if we didn't get to answer them. Like you can again, if you have personal stuff, or just general questions, feel free to reach out to us via WhatsApp on the right or WeChat on the left. Thanks again to Ranali and Jennifer for your very like detailed and comprehensive presentations and answers to students' questions. I found that really helpful for myself, and I'm sure the students did as well. So thanks again, and feel free to reach out to us at Go Elite if you have any further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you so much
everyone.
for hosting this.